Israel is under attack for more than almost a year now. It didn't start with Israel attacking and killing 600 people on the other side. We are under heavy bombardment for many months, unprovoked from our side. And the government at the moment says that it didn't accept any proposal. I mean, the prime minister is on the plane to the United States, and he, in a formal announcement from his office, said we didn't even get anything proposed. The problem, I suppose, and I'm not talking on his behalf, but the problem is when you have arrangement with the French, the Americans, and even the Lebanese government, they have no leverage on a terror organization. So the Lebanese government may want to go into some sort of an arrangement, and it might be acceptable, I suppose, here, but how do you enforce that when on the other side you have this paramilitary, a terror organization who keep shooting at us? Even as we speak right now, there's bombardments in Israel North. So there's a problem there.
Benjamin Netanyahu is due to address the UN General Assembly this week. What's he likely to say?
He would probably say that Israel is for peace and for quiet in the region, and that we've been unfairly attacked on October 7th last year, which is true. I mean, Israel was under, I think, the heaviest terror attack ever in the history, with torching people alive and taking over villages. And the terror organization from the north, Hezbollah, they joined forces with the terror organization from the south, Hamas. And Israel did not provoke them for anything. I mean, why would they join in? So I suppose, Israel wants to make those two cases separate, say, we have an issue, huge war in the south, but we shouldn't be attacked from the north. By the way, Iran, it's all Iranian-backed militia, and they also shoot at Israel as we speak from Iraq with an Iranian militia, backed militia, and also from Yemen, from Syria. So we are sort of in this enclave where we are under, rockets from all directions as we speak.
Given the conflict in Gaza is showing no signs of abating and around 100 Israeli hostages are still being held there, a third of which are believed to be dead, how are Israelis feeling about yet another front in this conflict worsening in Lebanon now?
They feel very bad. It's no one wants war. No one wants a ground incursion in Lebanon. The war in Gaza got to stop. We want a ceasefire, a full ceasefire in Lebanon. In Gaza, you have about 60 to 70% support of a ceasefire down in the south, provided that we get the hostages back. This is people that were taken from their houses, from their beds on a Saturday morning almost a year ago. So if they will return our people, Israel is willing to release some criminals, murderers that are in arrest here, just for the exchange, and also pull out the Israeli forces from Gaza. But they have to bring the people back, especially, of course, the live ones, men and women, by the way, and elderly and kids. So there's two little kids, elderly. We don't know of the whereabouts. Some of them may be dead by now. But they have to bring them back as an basis for this humanitarian first step.
You mentioned it briefly there, the possibility of a ground invasion in Lebanon. How likely is Israel to go through with something like that?
It's hard for me to predict at the moment, depending really on what the other side is doing. They shot the first long-range missile into Tel Aviv the other night. This is the first time it happened. They're shooting indiscriminately into all of the country. So, I mean, if they will keep on shooting into vast areas and the north, I mean, Israel, may be forced to do something. I mean, I wish they didn't go into ground incursion. We don't want that. But, it's been a rough week in Lebanon. No citizens should be out of their homes, neither in Lebanon or in Israel. So we definitely want everything to go back to quiet. But again, it's been a year of nonstop rockets. I mean, it's hardly covered in worldwide media. But in Israel, we have also internally displaced people, refugees that had to escape their houses, about 100,000. So it's a very bad situation for all of the sides.
Now, the Prime Minister's polling numbers, of course, plummeted in the wake of the October 7 attacks, which triggered this conflict. But now, close to a year later, he seems to have gained some ground.
The ground he's gaining is taken from other small parties on his base. So, when he gets a little bit more of a numbers, it means that his The other extreme ministers are down by the numbers. So I don't think he is in a good position anyhow. When you look at the public support for a ceasefire, when you look at the public, grades that they're giving him for overall conduct of the war, the numbers are still very, very low. It doesn't have the trust of the people. You have mass demonstrations here. The Israeli public is not satisfied with its own government, to say the least. However, we don't have election at the moment. So, it's really hard to tell, how can he survive like that. But he's ongoing. He is the big survivor, I suppose, of this event. And we wish the Israeli public would get, different leadership because, this is a vast consensus at the moment. The leadership doesn't fit the era.
Mm-hmm. And just on that, we've had a lot of analysis over the last year about this conflict. One recurring theory is that as long as Benjamin Netanyahu is in power, a ceasefire will never be reached. How do you see it?
We're talking about ceasefire in Gaza, I suppose, not in Lebanon.
Mm-hmm. That's right, yes.
Yeah, because he has two ministers that are very extreme ministers in his government that they keep making threats that if he gets into a ceasefire in Gaza, they will topple the government. That's like a direct threat on him. So it's all politics. And I suppose it's true, but maybe within, we think it's really hard for me to say that it's all political consideration, but we also think that he's waiting for November 5th to see who is elected as the president in the United States. That's another political maneuvering that he's doing. It doesn't seem that he is listening to the public discourse. As I said, 70% want a ceasefire, and he doesn't even care about, the public polling.